The year is 1945. The Second World War has ravaged the globe. Millions lie dead, cities are rubble, the world holds its breath, teetering on the precipice of an abyss. The outcome, far from certain, will reshape the destiny of humanity for generations to come. This is the story of what might have been. A chilling exploration of a world where the Nazi war machine emerged victorious, casting a long and terrifying shadow over the future. Imagine a world where the horrors of the Holocaust became the norm. A world where the jackboot of Nazi oppression crushed the very soul of human freedom. It is a chilling thought, a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present potential for darkness to consume us all. This is not a tale for the faint of heart. It is a journey into the heart of darkness, an exploration of a world twisted and broken by the grip of tyranny. It is a world where the Allied powers, beacons of hope in our timeline, lie shattered and defeated, their dreams of freedom and democracy extinguished beneath the iron heel of Nazi domination. The Allied forces, though valiant, faced insurmountable odds. The tide of war, once promising, turned against them. Key battles, pivotal moments in our timeline, swung in favor of the Axis powers. The Battle of the Atlantic, a lifeline for Allied supplies, fell to the relentless German U-boat wolf packs. Britain, starved and isolated, succumbed to the Nazi war machine. The Eastern Front, a cauldron of unimaginable brutality, saw the Red Army pushed back on all fronts. Moscow and Leningrad fell. The vast resources and manpower of the Soviet Union, a decisive factor in our timeline, were crushed under the weight of the Nazi onslaught. America, weakened by a resurgent Japan in the Pacific, found itself unable to effectively support the European front. The combined might of the Axis powers, fueled by ruthlessness and a twisted ideology, proved too much to overcome. The world watched in horror as the Nazi banner, a symbol of hate and oppression, flew over conquered capitals. With the fall of the Allied powers, the Nazi regime embarked on its nightmarish vision of a new world order. The globe was carved up amongst the victors, a patchwork of puppet states and occupied territories ruled from Berlin with an iron fist. The dream of a thousand-year Reich, a nightmare to the rest of the world, had become a terrifying reality. Europe, from the Atlantic to the Urals, became a vast prison camp. The horrors of the Holocaust, once confined to occupied territories, spread like a virus. The Nazi ideology, a toxic brew of racial hatred and twisted nationalism, permeated every aspect of life. The Gestapo, the dreaded secret police, became the ultimate arbiter of power. Dissent, even a whisper of opposition, was met with swift and brutal repression. Fear became the universal language, a tool of control wielded with chilling effectiveness by the Nazi regime. Daily life under the Nazi regime was a stark departure from the world we know. It was a world where every aspect of existence, from education to entertainment, was warped to serve the twisted ideology of the ruling party. The Nazi propaganda machine, pervasive and insidious, worked tirelessly to mold the minds of the populace. Schools became indoctrination centers, churning out generations steeped in Nazi ideology. Textbooks were rewritten, history distorted to glorify the Reich and demonize its enemies. Children grew up learning to hate, their young minds poisoned by the venom of prejudice and intolerance. The arts and culture were similarly co-opted. Books, films, and music were all subject to strict censorship, their content carefully curated to promote the Nazi worldview. Artists and intellectuals who refused to toe the party line were silenced, their voices extinguished in the suffocating grip of totalitarianism. Section 5. Technological advancements, the shadow of progress. Despite the horrors it unleashed upon the world, the Nazi regime made significant strides in technological advancement. Driven by a relentless pursuit of power, the Reich poured vast resources into scientific research and development. The fruits of this labor, though born from a poisoned tree, had the potential to reshape the world. The development of jet aircraft and rocket technology, pioneered by German scientists, progressed at an accelerated pace. The skies, once dominated by propeller-driven aircraft, now saw the emergence of faster, more agile machines of war. The world stood on the cusp of a new era of aerial warfare, one with terrifying implications for the future. However, this technological progress came at a steep price. The Nazi regime, obsessed with racial purity and world domination, twisted these advancements to serve its own dark purposes. The ethical boundaries of scientific exploration were blurred, if not outright obliterated, as the pursuit of knowledge became inextricably linked with the regime's genocidal agenda. Section 6. America in Chains, a Nation Divided. In this alternate timeline, America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, became a nation divided. After a negotiated peace, the United States found itself carved in two. The East Coast, under the dominion of the Greater German Reich, bore the brunt of the Nazi occupation. The West Coast, though spared direct occupation, became a puppet state of the Japanese Empire. The once proud symbol of American unity, the Stars and Stripes, was replaced by the banners of foreign powers. The American spirit, however, proved difficult to extinguish. Resistance movements, fueled by the embers of freedom, flickered in the shadows. Ordinary citizens, turned dissidents by the oppressive realities of Nazi rule, risked their lives to fight for a return to the ideals upon which their nation was founded. Section 7. The Empire of the Rising Sun, an uneasy alliance. The Japanese Empire, emboldened by its victories in the Pacific, emerged from the war as a dominant force in Asia and beyond. However, the alliance with Nazi Germany, one born of convenience and a shared thirst for power, proved to be an uneasy one. The ideological differences between the two regimes, one driven by racial purity and the other by imperial ambition, created an undercurrent of tension. The territories they now shared, vast swaths of Asia and the Pacific, became battlegrounds for influence and control. This uneasy alliance, a marriage of convenience between two vastly different ideologies, sowed the seeds of future conflict. The world, though seemingly at peace under the dominion of the Axis powers, was in reality a tinderbox awaiting a spark. Section 8. A world held hostage, the legacy of triumph. The world, reshaped in the image of its conquerors, bore the scars of war and the heavy yoke of oppression. The Nazi regime, triumphant but paranoid, ruled with an iron fist. The Gestapo's network of informants and secret police ensured that any hint of dissent was swiftly and brutally crushed. The world held its breath, existing in a perpetual state of fear and uncertainty. The dream of a world free from tyranny, a dream for which millions had fought and died, seemed nothing more than a distant memory. The human spirit, however, is not easily extinguished. Even in the darkest of times, even under the suffocating weight of oppression, the embers of hope refused to die. The human spirit, in its indomitable will to resist, offered a glimmer of hope in a world shrouded in darkness. Section 9. Reflections on Tyranny. A reminder from the abyss. The alternate history of a Nazi victory serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of freedom and the ever-present potential for darkness to consume us all. It is a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance, of standing up to oppression in all its forms. While we may find solace in knowing that such a future was averted in our timeline, the lessons of the past must not be forgotten. The seeds of hate and intolerance, the very forces that fueled the Nazi war machine, still linger in the world today. It is our duty, as inheritors of a world that narrowly averted disaster, to ensure that such horrors are never repeated. We must remain vigilant, we must never forget, and we must always strive to build a future where freedom, justice, and equality prevail.